Welcome to another edition of the Good and Plenty podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Goodman, and college hoops is over. The Final Four is over. The national title's over, but that doesn't mean the news stops. And we got a great show for you today with new Vanderbilt head coach, Jerry Stackhouse, former NBA star, former NBA coach, and he'll tell you what life is like at Vandy so far and some of the hurdles, why he'll be different than some of those other former NBA guys who have gone into college coaching. Today's show brought to you by betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/Goodman. Use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% bonus on your next deposit. The show is also brought to you by Sports Wars. Brand new podcast with stories about sports rivalries. It is absolutely terrific. So you got to check that out. Remember, you can subscribe to the Good and Plenty podcast through iTunes, through Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe. Also give us your feedback. We'll continue to have the podcast either once or twice a week, depending on news and information as we go forward through the offseason in college hoops, through the NBA playoffs and the draft, certainly, and even we'll have some AAU high school basketball talk and some guests with the recruiting calendar that has changed and will change throughout the spring and summer. Remember, give us your feedback, any suggestions, you name it. Certainly we'll take all of that into account. But now we bring you new Vanderbilt. It sounds kind of weird. Head coach Jerry Stackhouse.
I'm good. How you, bro?
I'm good. Sorry to hit you so early on this one, but I figured earlier might be better for you.
Yeah, you're lucky I'm up, man. You said 9. I'm so glad. I thought you knew my time zone. 8 my time zone.
I know. That's why I said Eastern time. Trust me.
I missed that part.
How you doing?
I'm good, bro.
Head spinning?
Trying to get going. Huh?
Your head spinning a little bit with everything you got to do?
Yeah, man, a little bit. Ready to get some help in here. Ready to get all of the HR, get all their processes and everything going, get these guys going.
All right. Well, we'll do. You tell me when you got to go. It's a podcast, so I'll keep it at like half an hour. How's that?
All right.
Tell stories. Good. We'll hit on a little bit of everything.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now pleased to welcome in the new coach at Vanderbilt, and it still sounds a little bit strange. Jerry Stackhouse, former NBA star, former Carolina star. Stack, does it sound weird when I say it, new Vandy coach, or you gotten used to it?
I think I've gotten used to it. I mean, I've had so much. I've gone through the car wash with all of the media stuff over the last week, man. It was about 3-4 straight days of media and hearing it, and everybody calling me coach. So I mean, I think it's and I've been used to that just from obviously being in Memphis, being in Toronto these last few years. So, but it's still a little surreal to be back on the college campus and be a part of this kind of rebirth of what we're trying to do here at Vandy.
Yeah, things have changed since you were last on a college campus, just
No
a little
doubt,
bit,
no doubt.
right?
Man, you know what? I go back to Chapel Hill, because my oldest son is graduating from there in May, and I was like, I didn't go to school here. It's like it's all new buildings, all new. I mean, like that. It's crazy how much changed on these campuses. I mean, the last time I was on Vanderbilt campus was like 2012, and I was bringing my son here for a football camp, and it's still different. Just the whole city of Nashville is different than it was at that time, but it's a great place, man. A lot of great people, great restaurants, great things that I like to do. I like to break bread now, so as a foodie, this is a good spot for me.
I just want to know if you're a big country music guy, and if not, you're going to have to be soon.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of favorites. I got a little, Rascal Flatts in the playlist. You know what I'm saying? I got a little something.
You're gonna have to add to it. You're gonna have to add to it.
On board.
That's right. That's right. No doubt. My wife actually has a big birthday coming up, and she's never been in Nashville. I've only been. I'll tell you what, I haven't been a whole lot. So she wants to go down there for her birthday in August or September. So I got to figure that thing out soon and where to take her, and I'm not a big country.
I have some good names for you by then.
I assume by the time I come down there, you'll be up to speed. Meeting with all the people. I mean, that's the hardest part of taking over a new gig, isn't it? Trying to get up to speed. People are telling you who you need to meet with, whether it's staff-wise, whether it's AAU coaches in the area. And your deal's a little different than a lot of the other, and we'll get into this in a minute, former NBA guys who have a lot of money in their bank account who go and coach college that I've been critical of over the years because you were entrenched in the AAU world. Now, how entrenched were you with your AAU program? I saw you on the road quite a bit in Vegas and other spots.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know how that grind goes, man. I mean, that was fun. When we first started out, before we were, kind of a shoe sponsor team, before we were with Adidas, man, we were, making up our own uniforms, having to go over to the screen print shop, renting vans and driving to Arkansas and driving to, up from Atlanta to Richmond and doing all these things. That you really build a bond and camaraderie with those kids and really invest in them that way to where you really want to see them have success. So, I mean, I understand what that process looks like for these kids. I understand what it looks like for their parents. I understand what it looks like for the AAU coaches and those directors. I mean, they put a lot of time in with these kids, and a lot of times the rewards aren't there, and I think just the fact that they're able to get these sponsorships and things from these shoe companies is a plus, because I mean, like every year, even with the what they were giving us to help support the program, it was still in the red.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been in the red every year. I mean, it's just because I have a passion for doing it. My financial advisor is like, do you still want to keep doing this? Yes, because it means enough to me that to see these kids go to college and have an opportunity that otherwise they probably wouldn't have. So, man, I'm excited to kind of be back in this space because I see them after this too. So the fortunate for me, after they've gone to college, and I still see kind of the gaps that they have in trying to transition into the program, to the pro game for the ones that are talented enough to do so. And it's still a learning process. I don't know if it's from a time restraint or whatnot, but I just feel like some of the teaching of guys that come into that next level just aren't ready. So hopefully I can help, for the guys that we have, and hopefully we have some of those guys that have potential to play at that next level, that some of the teaching and development things that we do kind of help that transition and give them a better window to have success at that next level.
All right, so I'm not going to go through the laundry list, but, there are a few that have not worked out, right? Isaiah Thomas, FIU, Chris Mullen, just now St. John's. You could say he had some success, but I think the biggest knock on a lot of guys going from NBA to college is the work, right? Brad Stevens has told me over and over when he comes home from practice, nobody calls him. He said, like, it's crazy. Like, he's looking for people to call because nobody calls him. It's like, but when you get to college coaching, you got to be relentless. You got to be on the phone all day. You got to be doing speaking engagements. It's like nonstop if you want to be successful. What is going to separate you from some of these other guys that maybe didn't have that fire, that hunger to want to do it 24/7?
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's all the reason. I mean, I think it's from the standpoint of being on calls. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to have a great support staff. You got to have people that are in areas where some of those things that's concerning with kids and their classes and stuff, that you have people in place for that, to help me focus a little more on basketball and help me focus a little more on the development of our program on the court. I just strategically. I mean, I really as I've taken over this job, I've been slow to even call all the parents because I want them to know how we're going to operate. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming here to help raise your son and help raise men. So a lot of the conversation and dialogue that you need to have with them is going to be with them and not with me. So it's like, really, this is how we're going to build this from the gate. Am I going to periodically call my parents and make sure, that they have an update of where we are, making sure things are right? But come on, for something, the class, something's going on with the class or something, we have a chief of staff. We have a director of basketball operations to help you with those things. You know, my job here is to help raise them, to help them become men, and I plan on doing that the way that I know has worked, what worked for me, and has worked in the past for me, and what I feel has worked with other young men that I've worked with, you know, during their college careers and the ones post-career. Because, I mean, I think sometimes we can hold their hands a little bit too long, and I think that's what we want to try to build here from the standpoint of teaching not only on the court, but teaching them how to be men off the court. So, I mean, those are, you know, when it comes, you know, my son is going to play 30 minutes. They tell him he's going to play 30 minutes over here. He probably needs to go over there because here he's going to have to come in and earn it. So, I mean, I think being honest and being frank with people about how, you know, how we're going to flow and how we're going to operate, then now the decision is up to you. So, but this is how we're going to do it, and I think that's all. Honesty has always been the best medicine in my mind.
Have you figured out any of your staff yet? I mean, that's a huge part. I always say, like, you can't judge a hire on the head coach. You got to see who they hire as their staff, because that's as important as anything. That's who's going to get you in the door and who's going to work, and they better have the relationships, especially at a place like Vandy, where you can't recruit just any kid anywhere. You've got some restrictions academically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge piece of it, and we're down the road with that, obviously, with the HR piece and having to do background checks and the different things like that. I'm not at liberty to speak about any of that right now, but you know, but it's coming. I've kind of made those decisions, and like I said, and getting a broad base of talent. You know, obviously people who are great recruiters, but more importantly, you know, because of what you just said, that's maybe not having the opportunity just to walk in the top 100 camp and get, you know, a 5-star, might be a 4-star, or maybe a 3+ star. So the player development.
Jerry, the stars don't matter anymore. It's so
right.
much of that is overrated, in my opinion, just because, again, you want to find a guy that fits you, your system, your school, and there's a lot of mistakes that are made, as you know, with evaluating kids and giving it 5 stars when they're not really 5 stars.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, I mean, so from my standpoint, it's just about going in and having the development piece coming in and having these guys understand what we're doing, what they're doing. I'm excited about the roster that we have right now. You know, just from looking in these guys' eyes and seeing what they want to work. I mean, obviously it was a tough year last year, but, you know, you what to do and how to do it, and more importantly, I can show you how to do it. So not only am I going to tell you what to do, I'm going to get out here and show you exactly what needs to be done, so there's no gray area. So now it's just about doing your job on a day-to-day basis, because I've done all the legwork for you. And so, I mean, I think I watched this game with a discernment, with an eye that, you know, I feel that that's what I'm good at. You know, that I understand what offense is doing, and I've, you know, hung my hat on the defensive side of the ball, making sure that we give ourselves a chance to, you know, to find enough points to win games. So I feel like that's my approach with these guys. You know, trying to find leaders and accountability. At first, obviously, the coaches are going to have to be the one to have all the accountability. But the best teams I've been on is when the players they start to see what's happening, and they can start holding their teammates accountable. That's when you know you're on to something. And I think with the intelligence of the guys that we had and guys that I'm going to be working with here at a place like Vanderbilt, man, it's, you know, that's the part that's so intriguing to me. I mean, it's like it may not be a kid I got to tell 10 times.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
right.
that I've had in the past. So I'm looking forward to maybe that being a little bit of a different challenge that I wouldn't have to have that I've had in the past.
Another huge week across the NBA with the playoffs and some exciting matchups. There's only one place to get in all the action. That's betonline.ag. Sports. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another huge week across the NBA with playoffs getting going with some very exciting matchups. There's only one place to get in all the action. betonline.ag. Sports, casino, virtual casino, you name it. BetOnline.ag is CLNS Media's preferred sportsbook online. Use promo code CLNS50 for that 50% sign-up bonus. That's CLNS50. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. And I'm riding with the Boston Celtics on Wednesday night against the Pacers. They didn't look great in the first half, but completely outclassed the Pacers without Victor Oladipo. So I'm going with a sweep here for the Celtics. I think they're going to push their foot in the gas and get through this series quickly and easily. So the roster now will likely not feature Darius Garland or Simi Shiatu. Garland, did you meet with him? Did you try to convince him, hey, listen, come back. You only played 5 games last year. I can help you be more prepared when you get to the NBA, or was it already 100% done? You didn't even bother?
No, I mean, you know, I mean, a lottery pick. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. If I have another kid that's a lottery pick, you know, I'm gonna push him out the door. I'm not gonna, you know, saying like, you know, really. I mean, I understand that, you know, more things can go wrong than go right by staying too long. You know how that goes. But I mean, someone like Simi, you know, who didn't have the best year, who's kind of, you know, who's going to possibly test the water. I think he's a perfect candidate to come back. I've spoken with him and talked to him about, you know, possibility of, you know, let's focus in on really getting yourself right and making that transition a little more, you know, without so much guesswork. I think there's a lot of guesswork concerning him right now. So I'm just, you know, but again, I'm going to support him either way. You know, as far as if he's hell bent on going and testing the waters, then come on, let's get some work in to make sure that you're prepared to go out there and perform well in the combines and different things like that. But if you decide that, okay, I'm gonna hold off and we're gonna come on, let's get busy on our schemes and what we're gonna do next year to try to be successful. So it's, you know, fortunately for me, man, I've been in those kids' same shoes and had to deal with those same decisions. So I think from that standpoint, there's probably nobody that could give them as, you know, kind of a real life reenactment of what that looks like, and, you know, and what they have to be ready to do. Man, if you're not ready to play, I've seen, again, from playing 18 years and coaching in the league as long as I have, I've seen so many guys get swallowed up because they weren't ready to go into the workforce. It's not like the camaraderie of, you know, being on a college campus and everybody's kind of, you know, pulling for the same thing. Your teammates are, you know, they want your job. You know, there's going to be people coming into camp that could care less whether you make the team or not. They're trying to feed their family. So I think that's what these kids have to understand that they're embarking on when they make this jump to try to go play with the big boys. So
you had experience coaching young guys from the G League, certainly with Toronto. Then you coached Toronto, Memphis. Why Vandy? It looked like certainly you were on a track to have a chance to be a head coach in the NBA. Why take this job now?
I mean, again, like I said, it's all about relationships. When Malcolm came to me, I mean, I feel like I'm a head coach. I mean, I almost was like, you know, just even it was great in Memphis, you know, this year, just kind of being able to, you know, do my thing. Still, I was probably in charge of the defense and doing things there. But it's like suggestions as opposed to the decisions. And I think that's where I thrive. So I was looking for an opportunity. So I mean, I felt like I probably would have had maybe a chance. I know as quick as it turned around, I think I would probably had a chance to interview for the Sacramento job, you know, the Cleveland job. Now, I mean, the Griff got the New Orleans job. You know what I'm saying? That's there. But, you know, all of those, my mama told me one time, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I had a bird in the hand right here. You know what I'm saying? Where they wanted me, a guy that I've, you know, worked with, who saw me work. We had mutual respect for each other with the things that he's done and grown in the G League. And from him seeing me build 2 different rosters at that level and having a high level of success with them, he felt like I was the guy to come in with a brand new roster and not really knowing what I got and really come in with to have some expectations. That's how crazy I am, you know, to think that we're going to do something right away. And I think that he knew that, and that's why it was a good fit coming to this type of institution. I mean, it's second to none when it comes to like an education. So there's some talented kids whose parents want this type of environment for their kids. They feel that basketball may not work out, but having an education from Vanderbilt University is going to put you in, like some of the next leaders of the world are that these guys are sitting in class with. Some of the best professors in the world are the ones that are teaching them. So I just think as far as I can come here and win and have success there, then I kind of put myself in a situation where I become beyond reproach, for any other situation, because they know we do it right. Ain't nobody cheating. Ain't nobody doing no dirt. We got so many, parameters in place to protect against any type of academic fraud or anything like that. So, why not? That's a challenge that I welcome and feel like we can get it done.
It's funny. One of the things that everybody speculates on is, right, who's going to follow Kay at Duke, who's going to follow Roy at Carolina. Kay at Duke, there's a lot of options in terms of like guys within the family. And you kind of know both schools are going to stay within the family for the most part, although there was a little while where people thought Brad Stevens could be the next guy at Duke. Carolina, there aren't a ton of guys. You and I have talked about this a little bit. I think you got mad at me when I said Billy Donovan a year or so ago if he came back to college.
I did get at you a little bit then.
No, that's cool. Listen, I got no problem with that. We to each their own. Yeah. We all have our kind of views on it. But I think now at Vandy, you put yourself in the equation to dispel a few questions, right? Like you'll have had college coaching experience. When I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like you were trying to get on Roy's staff a few years ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a situation where I was still playing, and I knew that he kind of had an opening there. And but I mean, I don't know if it was realistically, because I still played a year after that I would have actually taken it. But I just wanted to kind of, because of the grassroots. I mean, you've seen me there, but not a lot of people knew that I was wanting to coach. So I think just kind of being in the conversation of someone that Coach Williams was considering would have been, just kind of getting me out there a little bit. I think that was maybe more of it than the actuality of actually being on the staff. But if he, would have looked my way, then it was definitely would have had to been a real decision that I had to make. But yeah,
you wouldn't have given up. Hey, you wouldn't have given up that last year contract. Who are you kidding? That was too much money.
No. I mean, Brooklyn was good for me. I enjoyed that last year, in Brooklyn. But to turn down a guaranteed minimum for 150, I don't know.
You do know. You do know. Who you kidding?
But nah, man. It was like, but again, just like everybody knows that's there. I mean, I've heard all of that. But again, I mean, to kind of honor Coach Smith's legacy, I would want to build what I could here. And I mean, I think that's, kind of in a small environment. I think that's it almost feels a little bit like Duke, just from the kind of the private school, real high standards from the academic side, the smaller, student body. So I just think like being able to kind of blaze my own path there. I mean, never ruling out. I mean, it'd be a hell of a decision to have to make to think about going back there and following in the footsteps of probably the man that I respect the most in Coach Smith, and being the first African American to be a head coach in North Carolina. Yeah, man, those are decisions that I hope I'll have to make one day. But but right now, I'm one that lives in the moment, lives in the present, and more focused on trying to get Vanderbilt University back to where where it should be, as opposed to anything else. And I mean, not the NBA, not any of that. I mean, I've seen that dynamic, and I understand the workflow, of how having to, they want to possibly thinking about trading this guy. I need you to play this guy a little bit more. This, this guy here is not really in our plans, and so we don't want to play. So it's like just I don't have to deal with that. I don't have a front office telling me nothing. At the end of the day, I'm able to make
who to play and who not to play
and all that. Yeah. So I think that's just this suits me well to be able to run the things without any interference, and really with the help of and support of somebody that wants to make sure that we get everything that we need to be successful.
The biggest thing you learned from Dean Smith that you will implement at Vandy is what?
I don't know, man. I think you have to, again, relationships, man. It's all about relationships. I feel like you got to touch these kids every day. You can't just, literally, I physically want to put my hands on them. If it's nothing but a fist bump or just to put my hand around their shoulders and let you know that, that, all right, man, I care about you. I want to see you be successful. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. And that way, when we have to have those moments of candor, when I have to speak with candor, when I have to, raise my tone and use some colorful words that it's not personal. It's more about, me wanting to see you have success. I want to spend time with them away from the court. I think team building was huge, with my 905 teams. Every time, the kids weren't making a whole lot of money, so every time I could have an opportunity to feed them, and the same thing with this kids here. Every opportunity that we can, that's by rule that we can feed them and do things with them. I want us to do those things because I want them to really feel that this staff and everybody here is really there to support them, and I think that makes it fun. It makes it easier and have that togetherness when you go out on the court and you're in a close game and a tight game. My brother kind of got my back, and that's kind of the mentality and the culture that I want to build.
When did you go back for your degree? And did you go back with the understanding that, hey, I want to potentially coach college? Because like Jason Kidd right now was kind of in the mix, I thought, and he's taking classes, but he hasn't finished it yet. So until you get your degree, you can't be a head coach in college. How did that all play out for you?
Man, I had no intention. It had nothing to do with college coaching when I went back. It was just I kind of promised my mom and I promised Coach Smith that I was going to do it. And really it was like, I think I maybe just kind of felt the whispers of when I left and I said that I was going to come back and finish my degree, that people was like, oh, he's going to the NBA. He's never going to do it. And like, just those little motivating things right there, factors to kind of put me back into that space. And I enjoyed it way more than really when I was there because I was so focused on, trying to put myself in a position athletically to go to the next level that I don't know if I enjoyed my classmates as I really enjoyed my classmates when I went back to summer school and did all those things. I got to know my classmates a little bit more because I didn't have the obligations of basketball. I didn't have to worry about going to practice or doing anything. I was on bad teams in the NBA, so I was get both sessions in. We were done by April. So by the May and June sessions, I was back in Chapel Hill. I built a house there my first year, so it was just like good being back in that environment for those next 4 summers that it took me. So, I left in '95 and I didn't graduate till '99. So, but it was just those were that was the best feeling after I told my mom and told Coach Smith. And they were, and he was on me, what I'm saying? He was like, I would, like, I only want to take 3 hours this summer, which I'm doing, like, and he would just look at me and kind of lower his head, and then I'm like, all right, I'll take 6, so that was like, that was,
yep.
So
couldn't let him down. Right.
Yeah, couldn't let him down, man. So I'm so glad that I had him, make me take that 6 because, again, if I'd have stopped and deterred, then I wouldn't be, like you said, I wouldn't be even here to be in this position because I wouldn't have a degree and wouldn't be able to coach at this university.
What was it like watching the whole academic fraud scandal kind of in Chapel Hill, Carolina? Obviously, they were kind of cleared. The basketball program was at the end of the day. But as a former Carolina player who I believe got your degree in African American Studies, what was that whole thing like for you?
Man, it was tough to watch. Just from the standpoint of, I know how hard them damn classes was. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you sit in there and people like it was like the AFAM is a joke. AFAM is tough. I was a business major and then had to kind of go toward the history because a lot of the business courses wasn't available in the summertime and things like that. So it was kind of disheartening to kind of see some of the people, because I mean I knew some of those people. Those were some good people. Their names were being dragged across the through the mud, and I think that it was just a tough thing, and just how it kept going on and on. But man, it's an issue across college basketball. I think it was one that spotlight was shone on in North Carolina at the time. But I mean, just think about this. I mean, just this fact alone. When during this NCAA tournament and all of these guys flying across the country, were they in class?
No, they were not.
They were not in class. You know what I'm saying? Are they the kids that the regular students that was there, that was still in class getting all of their material, everything that they need? Do you think that they were going to be a little bit behind those? And but nobody talks about that when they're making billions of dollars off of these kids. You know what I'm saying? And they're taking them out of class and doing all these different things. But now you want to shed light on it when they're getting maybe a little bit more help than they need. I mean, it's a racket, man. But I mean, I think it's some things, there's some issues, and I'm glad that I'm here. Chancellor, Zeppo's here. He's on the night commission. I'm still a part of the junior, the junior NBA. They have like a competition committee that's going to do some things to try to give some ideas to the NCAA, because even this summer, man, that's a joke. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are missing out and are losing because of just some of the rule changes that they made. Normally you go in to a gym to see a top 50 player, then you look over on the court or just a local team that had a kid, they paid that money to get in, you'll be able to see them. Now, with how things are, you aren't even going to be able to see some of those diamonds in the rough. You're going to miss a lot of kids, and they're not going to get this opportunity again. So I think we have to make sure that we're feeding some good information and some knowledge of people that have been in the grassroots side, other people that understand that dynamic and know the people. The 1 through 250 are going to be fine, but it's the 250 through 5,000 kids that we have to work, that we need to concern ourselves with, and hopefully, being at Vanderbilt and having Chancellor Zepos on the night commission, the things that we're doing with the competition committee from USA Basketball and the Junior NBA, that we can give them some help where we can correct this thing. And I think they want that and excited about us working together. So this is not just about coaching college basketball for me. I want to be able to really, look at the big picture and figure out, try to maybe help a way where we can find a way to incentivize these kids to get their education. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe a portion of all of this money that we're making, but one day we can find a way with all the smart people that we have to find a way to reward the kids that graduate. Okay, not the ones that drop out, but incentivize the ones that graduate. If you graduate, we're not going to pay you, but we got a annuity that's going to help you later on in life when it really matters. Those are the big picture things that I want to focus on, and not just what happens in between the 94 feet.
I've said that for a while now, Stack. Like that's what they should be doing. Like if you graduate, you get a proceed of your jerseys, whatever was sold, right? So there's some incentive. Right. You went back. You had 2 years left. You went back. It's not impossible. Kevin Durant started going back. I don't know how close he is to his degree after just 1 year, but those, you're right. Those are the things. Everybody's kind of got an easy answer, right? Pay the players, don't pay the players. Well, if you pay the players, you got to figure out a system here where it works. And I like your thought process of, hey, reward them for getting their education. Yeah. And if they get their degree, figure out a way to be able to compensate them. You've got a different perspective because, again, you played in the NBA, you played in college, you coached AAU, you were around that. Now you're a head coach in college. It'll be interesting, I think, after a year, like a year of you going out in the summer as a college coach, seeing it from that perspective even more. I think they should have you on. Like, they need to revamp that damn commission, first of all. Like, I love David Robinson. I love Grant Hill. But when's the last time those two guys have really been in the trenches in an AAU event?
Man, I love them too, man. And I said the same thing. I said the exact same thing. Like, these kids are they didn't see it the way we saw it. They don't
No.
see it from the same standpoint. Grant Hill, like he's one of the face of the NBA from the standpoint of David Robinson. I mean, just a pillar of what's right. But,
That's right.
you know what I'm saying, we come from a place where we see these kids on a different stage. So that's why I was so fortunate. I mean, I reached out to Adam, you know what I'm saying, and he put me in touch with, you know, Kathy Behrens and Charlie Rosenswag and got me on that, you know, commission for to
you need to be on the other commission. You need to be on the new commission for college hoops. Like they need to scrap it and start over and get people who actually have a feel. And even, you know, you got to be no offense. I mean, again, I'm not somebody that they needed to reach. Nobody on that commission ever reached out to me, and I talked to plenty of other people who cover grassroots and college.
Right.
And again, reach out to me to find out who to reach out to. I don't give a shit. You don't have to ask my opinion on anything, but I know some people that you could have reached out to that would have had a different perspective. Anyway, all right.
Dwayne West, man. Dwayne West would be ideal.
Yes.
You know David West's brother and the stuff that he does with the Garner Road. I mean, he would be ideal guy to be there, man, because he understands. He has a brother that played in the NBA who
high character
high character guy, man. So, but we'll get there, Jeff. I mean, I've got confidence that we'll get there, and because I think now that we're actually in college basketball, now we feel a little bit more a part of it. I think when you say things outside of it, you're just a noisemaker.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree with you, and I think the other thing you can help on is the lack of black coaches, head coaches in college basketball. I think you're strong enough, Penny Hardaway is strong enough that once you guys get comfortable, you can have a voice, and I think there's been a little bit of a void, and I'm going to try to write something on this in the next couple of weeks about hiring more black head coaches. Like, this is ridiculous, the percentage. I don't even know what it is, but it's insanely low. And I don't understand why. Maybe I do understand why, but it's got to change. It's got to change. And that's an area that I think you, Penny, as you have success. But again, the fact of the matter is you guys aren't afraid to express your opinion, which is going to help.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important, man. That's why it's important for us to have success. Again, because that we just fall right under that category that we touched on earlier. Just another NBA guy that came here and didn't have success. So I think it's easy to dismiss, and they really would never even look at the fact that we were African American. So I mean, but I think those are things. And then back to the other thing. I mean, I think it's important for some way that the players get some type of representation, because that way, if they're never they'll never have anybody representing them at the table. They're never going to get anything. So, I mean, I always, when I was with the Players Union, I was always an advocate that they should reach back for these players. I mean, they're all pretty much their players. The same ones that make up the NBA are the ones that's, are these young players now. Reach all the way back to the grassroots level and get these kids and go to the bargaining table for them and for their rights. So, I mean, it's a whole another story, man. But
we could do
what my thought process is.
Yeah, we could do a half an hour just on that topic easily. And you and I, we'll talk about that when I see you in July. I definitely want to talk a little bit more. All right, so I can't let you go without one NBA question. All right, I'm just going to give you one easy one.
Okay.
All right, so Boogie Cousins goes down last night with a quad injury that looks serious. Steve Kerr said, I mean, it didn't look good. It didn't sound good. I feel terrible for the kid or the guy. I still call him a kid.
Right.
Golden State, can they be beaten? Can Houston beat Golden State now? That's certainly the likely team that opposes the real threat to Golden State. Or do you think Golden State's just going to turn it on, even though, again, they lost to the Clippers in the first game and in the second game? Sorry.
Second. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're still the team to beat, absolutely, because they do have the ability to flip the switch on, and they've done it without Cousins. They've done it without Durant before. So, I mean, I think when you add in the fact of these guys, I mean, they just didn't defend last night. I mean, you go back and I watched the whole package of this morning of all of the plays that the Clippers made, and, it was uncharacteristically stuff that they were doing out there defensively. I mean, Ron Adams didn't get any sleep last night. I know it. So,
no, he did not.
I'm saying? It's just, no, but again, they are very capable of coming back and doing all the mistakes that they made last night on those plays and getting it right. And so they were hugging guys that in my opinion just didn't need to be hugged, as opposed to shrinking the floor and doing things and making the rotations that they normally do. But those are all correctable areas for them, and when they're doing that and also playing with the capability that they can play with on the offensive end, they're still the team to beat. But but James is James, man. I ain't seen nothing much like him. I mean, it's something like, could he play back in this era? James Harden could have played in any era, and like when you got a guy that's capable of doing what he's done, Chris Paul, with his savviness, and the shooters around him, yeah, man. Could they beat him? Hell yeah. But will they? I don't know. That when when the Golden State Warriors is on, I still think that they're the team to beat.
You're not betting your house on the Houston Rockets.